If you've been to any live entertainment, large scale production in the past decade and a half to 2 decades, chances are you've probably wondered why it cost you an arm and a leg to go and see a show. It is more than fair to say that a sizable portion of your $80 or $90 general admission ticket is going to go to the people that help set up that show. Stagehands, vendors, security, the artist or sports teams themselves that are performing. You go to pay for this 80, 90, $100 general admission ticket and it goes up. It goes up to 120, 130, $140 in fees alone. And then by the time you've hit accept, you've spent an extra 30 to 50% of what you intended on this ticket. Something has always felt shady about this, and it's just the tip of the iceberg when you look at the changes that have come about to the live entertainment industry since the birth and takeover of Live Nation. I'm not just talking about the increase to the average ticket price over the past couple of decades, or Ticketmaster and Live Nation's merger. Live Nation owns and operates the most major venues around the planet. They've been buying up dozens and dozens of artist management companies and vendor companies and advertisement companies. They've been bullying people inside of this industry so that they can play by their rules. There's a reason the Department of Justice is investigating these guys for being a monopoly. And that is what I'm talking about today. I won't be able to get to every detail inside of this long and complex story, but I'm going to be trying to go over the general history of Live Nation and how they came to consolidate this entire market and what the government has done and seems to be planning to do about it in the future. Robert F. X. Sillerman. Born in the late 1940s to a radio mogul, the man who actually created the TV show Lassie, weirdly enough, Robert F. X. Sillerman would go on to be taught and raised as a clever and savvy businessman from a very early age. This man sold his first string of stations to Legacy Broadcasting for about $50 million. They'd later go on to merge for double what was being reported at the time in 1989. I honestly have no idea at this point what the real number is. I'm seeing so many people say 700 million. I'm seeing so many people say 400 million. We could just split it down the middle at 550 at this point. I say all of this to express that Sillerman consolidated the live entertainment business himself. He looked towards the entertainment world and wanted to make even more money off of it. He took all of his winnings from radio and he he bought this company that owns Billy Joel and Metallica. He would move on to then start investing into SFX Entertainment, and that already had some venues, but he would take it a step further. Look at all the I mean, what? He acquired $1.5 billion worth of venues and businesses, and I mean, look, in one day, he announced 5 different transactions for like $100 million in one and more money in another. He understood that he needed to invest a lot of capital so that this could survive the industry and weather the storm so that it could become a more profitable business. Sillerman would do the intelligent thing in this situation, and after building this fledgling monopoly, he would just take the bag. The dude would just take a $2 billion check for the foundations to what would be Live Nation. Now, Live Nation, without its daddy to guide it, actually went through some tumultuous times. When it was purchased by iHeartMedia, there's a small misconception that it is still associated or owned by iHeartMedia. That is not true. It was the live entertainment wing of iHeartMedia, but they had no idea how to manage this business. A lot of the leadership apparently drifted from Clear Channel Communications into Live Nation and continued the process of buying venues, acquiring the intellectual properties of artists, acquiring their management companies. They were still consolidating this market. Something that I found very interesting was you can actually see a little man that I would like to talk about in the future headed this separation. He headed the spinoff of Live Nation. We can come back to him though. He's a little bit more interesting than it seems right now. The next step was its first real conquest.
Rural legacy which then brings me to Greenprint.
We leave this event recorded yesterday to go live now to a Senate hearing on the proposed merger between Ticketmaster and LiveNation. We'll hear about the potential impact on ticket prices for concerts and other events. Herb Kohl, on your screen, of Wisconsin, chairs the Judiciary Subcommittee on Antitrust and Competition Policy. Live coverage on C-SPAN 3.
Which ultimately will serve consumers. But we have good reason to be skeptical as to whether music fans will truly realize these benefits. Critics of this merger allege the deal will combine two competitors in the evolving entertainment business by creating an enormous, vertically integrated entertainment giant that will dominate all aspects of the business. They argued that the strength of this combined company will make it impossible for new competitors in ticketing or concert promotion to emerge, and that consumers will pay higher prices as a result. LiveNation owns or has operating agreements with 140 amphitheaters, clubs, theaters, and small music venues, 30 music festivals, and 305 large arenas. Exclusive deals with marquee artists including U2, Madonna, and the Jonas Brothers, to name just a few. The company recently launched LiveNation Ticketing, which makes it a viable competitor to Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster is the nation's dominant ticket seller, processing in 2007 more than 280 million tickets and $8.3 billion in sales for thousands of venues, including more than 77 of the 100 largest venues. By some accounts, Ticketmaster controls 70 to 80% of all concert ticket sales. Late last year, it acquired a management company that manages 200 artists, frontline management, and a leading ticket resale company. The combination has the potential to create one company with a stranglehold on all segments of the concert business.
By the time of the merger in 2009, Ticketmaster would prove itself to be a very worthy adversary in this business. Founded in the mid-70s, Ticketmaster was originally created to develop and sell the hardware for venues to print tickets. Eventually, they transitioned into the primary ticketing market. These companies contract with venues and sell the tickets on their behalf. As you can see, Ticketmaster controlled this market in 2008. They were the top dog, and LiveNation was their number one partner. LiveNation was the person who was using Ticketmaster the most. That was until LiveNation decided to enter this market themselves. And as you can see, they destroyed Ticketmaster's market share. They brought it down almost 20% in a single year. That is unheard of. You can see here that LiveNation was planning to do this for quite a while. In August of 2007, they stopped working with each other. They completely cut ties, and LiveNation started to sell their own tickets. You've got to understand, LiveNation was already gigantic. Look, this individual says 15 out of the 19 shows that they were being booked for in 2008 were LiveNation venues. These guys were already massive. It's a wonder that the US government let this go through. And it honestly almost didn't go through. The Department of Justice and 17 state attorney generals filed antitrust lawsuits against them, and Ticketmaster and LiveNation, by the skin of their teeth, were able to progress. They got a series of behavioral restrictions, like not threatening and retaliating against venues that didn't want to use their service. They were also told to sell a couple of their subsidiaries to their rival organizations, AEG namely, and the government would wrap this up, put a bow on it, and say, we'll be back in 10 years' time to discuss what happened and see if it's fair that this should remain. Eventually, the government would step up and say, you know what, enough is enough. You guys have blatantly gone against the rules of our agreement, and we see fit to punish you with a $3 million fine. Now, I don't know about you, but here, we'll look up real quick what LiveNation's revenue was in 2019. Whoop-de-doo! Would you look at that? $11.6 billion. Now, please, somebody, anybody, please tell me how it makes any sense to fine them $3 million. It'll do nothing to them. What is even more ridiculous is if you see right here, they did not even change the agreement. They merely extended it for 5 years. So they saw that Live Nation would breach the confines of this contract, and they still decided to not punish them and not change the rules they were meant to follow. As of right now, that is where the legal situation stands. Besides these rumors that the Department of Justice is following up with these antitrust lawsuits, nothing else has come about legally. Now, if Live Nation has been in operation for almost going on 3 decades now, they continue to make money hand over fist. They're getting more and more employees. They're buying more and more companies to fit under the Live Nation parent. The government has been around and has been at every turn since its inception and has not broken them up yet. You would think if they were really a monopoly, then something would have been done by now. But what is a monopoly? The excessive possession or control of the supply of or trade in a commodity or service. If we look at a couple of the different ways, or all of the different ways that Live Nation is pulling in money, and by the way, I will link all of these sources and a lot of these news articles that I've been using in this entire video down in my description below. This is a PDF that came out at the beginning of the year. This is what I based a lot of my initial research off of. This is a very interesting read, but regardless, here are the 4 major ways that Live Nation is going to be making money. Concert promotions, selling tickets, venue operations, anything from concessions to VIP to parking, artist management. This is where they get commissions off of artists that go through their tours and use their venues. Ticketing, Ticketmaster. This also counts for the secondary market. Ticketmaster is a primary ticket seller, but Live Nation is all up in the secondary market, and they made $2.2 billion 2 years ago just off of fees alone. And if you were paying attention at this absolutely god-awful CNN article, that is what they were pulling in every year 20 years ago. Now, inflation, don't get me wrong, inflation, but that just shows insane growth these people have seen. Another terrifying little rabbit hole when discussing this that Tank the Tech showed me, and I'll link the video that he did this on, that was one of the main reasons that got me into this topic a few years ago. He uploaded about a year ago, is we can go and look at all of the subsidiaries that belong to Live Nation. Look at this. Management companies, marketing companies, whatever that is, artist management companies. Here's a venue, this is what he showed me that I was really surprised by. They control all the House of Blues, all the Fillmores. Here's just some more venues they have. Rudolph Management, artist management. Here's a secondary ticket market. Here's another secondary ticket market. Here's vendors that they will go in and operate at these venues. Here's just imagine what they have going on in here. These are more artist management companies. Here's more venues they have. These guys control the market. It is absolutely insane. Here's Live Nation's website where you can see all the venues that they have. I mean, just look at all over the world. Like, they've got them all over Europe. They're all over the continental U.S. I mean, they're in the Middle East. I guess they're technically in the middle of the Arabian Sea. Not only is Live Nation gobbling up all of these separate businesses and entities inside of this sphere, they are partnering with the other largest people inside of this industry. Does anyone know the name Corn Capshaw or Red Light Management? These dudes own the most festival grounds in the country. EDM shows, any of this, you go to that. Here's Red Light Management, and here's Live Nation. Here they are with a joint venture, Green Light. What even is this? UMG, Universal Music Group. If you don't know who is under UMG, just look it up. You can just look up UMG and it'll show you everyone who they own. We can date this to 2010. By this, U2 just completed their tour, and right above here where it says they enter, these deals require record companies to invest in more aspects of an artist's career than just recording a record, and then gives the record company royalties from all aspects of the artist's career as well. So merchandise, you know, if their face goes on like a cereal box or something, if they do anything, they were planning this from the get-go. And this is my terrible little segue, I believe. LiveNation, and more specifically, its Frontline Management Group, has joined with Universal Music Group. Well, I said earlier that Frontline Management was going to lead us into a tasty little guy that would show us the way. He is the man with the plan. He truly knows how to bring this all together and make sure Live Nation has a firm grip over the live entertainment industry.
Irving Azoff.
Irving Azoff.
Irving Azoff.
Irving Azoff.
Irving Azoff.
Irving Azoff.
Hi everyone, Irving here, aka Don Henley's Satan.
Irving Azoff, the poison dwarf, the tallest man in Hollywood if he was standing on his money. Irving is a very prolific artist manager, concert promoter, movie producer. This dude has been the CEO, COO, chairman of a dozen different entertainment companies that you may or may not have heard of, but have been running the market ever since he has been getting involved with them. Irving Azoff would get his start in the music business very early on in life. While he was leaving high school and entering college, he started to pick up a couple of his own acts, and he would eventually drop out of the University of Illinois Champaign to fully pursue being an artist manager. He'd move to LA in the early 70s and establish his company, Frontline Management. Throughout the 70s, he would get some of the biggest names in town. The Eagles, Steely Dan, Jimmy Buffett, Stevie Nicks. The guy was going on a tear. And it culminated when he got a huge deal and became the head of MCA Record Group. This was by far the strangest rabbit hole that I fell into when I was entering this whole editing process. The saving of MCA Records was no stroke of luck, as allegedly, Azoff had mob ties and was using shady business tactics to dump worthless product and earn some cash.
Organized crime ties would be doing any kind of business over in Hollywood.
MCA, through Sal Pacello, sold about 5 million cutouts to a Philadelphia budget distributor for about $1.5 million, 35 cents a piece. What happened was when he got the records, received them in his warehouse, he found that the better titles had been taken out. So he refused to pay and got his face broken.
It's a pretty wild story, but it doesn't actually really go anywhere. The mob associate eventually spent time in prison for tax evasion, but Irving and MCA Records got off scot-free. I found a whole book about it online, and it was honestly a chore to read, but some parts were pretty interesting. Apparently, Irving likes to start food fights or something. I don't really know. This whole thing is so strange. I don't even really know what to make of it. It's so bizarre. It almost perfectly fits into Irving's life. Now, MCA Records was not doing so hot at the time. Irving totally turned their business around and started turning a profit for them again. He acquired Motown distribution rights, and for the rest of the 1900s, the man would kind of run the business. I mean, he'd get the biggest acts. He'd start tying himself to every aspect of this industry, the labels, these live events, you know, the artists themselves. And this would all come together when Frontline Management was acquired by Ticketmaster. He would assume leadership when he was acquired. He'd get a pretty big stake of the company, and this came at a time right as Live Nation and Ticketmaster were merging. Now, Irving Azoff would be a leading role in establishing the merger. This was already concerning, as I said, to a lot of people in the government at the time, but he would swear and he'd get plenty of people to come in and and talk on his behalf and say that things would be all good. You know, he was getting Seal to come in here, dude. He was getting Seal to pull up in there and say everything was gonna be cool, man. What are you gonna not believe Seal or something like that? What's also very interesting to me, right after all of this went down, the merge with Ticketmaster went through, yada yada yada, Department of Justice, we know what happened there. He would step down right about in 2012, and this also came at a time when he would partner with Madison Square Garden and launch these co-venues. I mean, look at the vanity. This new company is called Azoff MSG Entertainment. I mean, this is the partnership that would go on to actually build the Sphere, which is very popular, very famous. You see influencer ads and stuff for it all the time, I imagine. I mean, YouTube plays there, you know, you name it. Madison Square Garden, he has not left the Sphere. He may have stepped down graciously as chairman, but he is nowhere near gone. Now, while I was going to finish writing this and start recording this, I even got some new information, which was this gigantic lawsuit that was going down with the New Jersey State Fair and Live Nation and some promotion company called Juice. It was a whole ordeal that some congressmen sent to the lead investigating team about what was going on with Live Nation, and it was just a whole bunch of information that is more evidence towards what we were already talking about today. But in this, you can see allegations of conflict of interest were discussed in the media. A conflict of interest was established by booking agent Jeffrey Azoff, the son of Live Nation Entertainment chairman Irving Azoff, became a booking agent at the CAA booking agency. Note that CAA is a powerful national talent agency. Jeffrey Azoff, working for an agency that books acts managed by his father at Live Nation, was criticized by many industry professionals. Irving Azoff was well connected. He had worked at Frontline Management for 5 years. Frontline Management Company was founded in 2004 by Irving Azoff before he sold it to Live Nation and began to work for Live Nation. So, as you can see, this is a lawsuit dealing in 2016, and Azoff is still around. He even let his son come up and through nepotism start taking on these acts and getting involved in this Live Nation business. And this letter that was sent by this Congressman Bill Pascrell that led me to this to this secret hearing or secret, you know, secret report. It was absolutely hilarious. You got to give it a full read. I full live reacted to this. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Link all of this down in the description below, obviously. I mean, just like a look at this. Some shows indicate a loss or very low profit on public statements presented to artists, agents, managers, and co-independent promoters, but a profit after factoring in the rebates in the internal accounting documents of Live Nation Ticketmaster. Like, that is fraud. That is just fraud. This man has been around since the very start of this. It was not his baby or his idea, but I believe he was one of the other people that really saw the vision of this thing, and he was a catalyst for what we have seen Live Nation become today, and he's an advocate for how it operates. We could talk about Irving Azoff all day. The man is a titan of the industry. I implore you, if you actually want to learn more about him, there's a couple of books involved with his artists that he is inside of. Here's a whole full-length CBS interview with him where he details his early and business life and his ideas about the music industry. There isn't a whole lot of newer content where he's interviewed and talks and speaks at length, but you can find some of that, and it's worth listening to the man speak. He's very intelligent. You don't get to the position he's in by being an idiot. There is a semi-famous quote by Irving that I believe encapsulates the attitude towards the business practices followed by Mr. Azoff and Live Nation and the larger big players in the music business as a whole. I never felt the music business was that competitive, he says. It's just not that effing hard. I don't think there's that many smart people in our business. We can take this town. It's true. I called up John and said, okay, get your ass out here. We can take this town.
this is evil. It's really evil. And as I got into it, it wasn't just about my business at Global Music Rights, but it really bothered me, just as a guy that's made his entire livelihood off of other people's talents. And we're at a time, especially in music, when there's such a lack of respect for intellectual property, and they're the worst offender of it.
Live Nation's control of this industry, the utter disregard for how the fans feel about this situation, their refusal to sell reasonable products has led them, and solely them, into the situation that they see before them. Lawsuits from fans and artists, venues don't want to use them, nobody wants to be involved with them anymore, but nobody has a choice. I have no idea where this situation is going to go. If the government's going to do anything, what they could do about it. If I had to put money on it, I don't think the government is going to break up Live Nation, or as much as everybody hopes to. I don't think they have the legal tools to break up Live Nation. I don't think they even have the willpower to do it. Live Nation, all of these executives donate to politicians. They don't have any reason to break up Live Nation besides people sending them letters and stuff like that. I think it is clear, and plenty of people think it is clear, that Live Nation is a monopoly, and the government needs to work towards a resolution to this. They need to establish laws that separates these separate markets inside of this industry. The only real thing you and I can do is write to our legislators or not pay Live Nation. Our only real vote in this situation is with our dollar. That makes me very sad to say, if I'm being honest. I want to support this community. I want to put my money towards the people setting up these shows, writing this music, everybody involved with it. I do want to be a part of this community. I'm not upset that we have to pay money. I don't think other people are upset that we have to pay a certain price to go see these shows, but it's feeling excessive. How can you justify spending on a big artist $300 to $800, maybe more, maybe over $1,000 for some of these seats? How can you justify spending upwards of $20 to $40 on like a liquid death and some hot dogs or a beer or something? How can you justify spending $60 to $200 to $300 on merch? It doesn't make any sense. The industry was not always like this. You can look back, you can talk to people that are like 40 years old, and they will tell you everything has changed since the 90s. Everything has gotten more expensive, and I understand. Like I said earlier, inflation. But clearly, this is exceeding inflation. You can see when there's more of a reasonable price attached to these, more people will come and pay. In 2013, Kid Rock had a tour where he took on a risk and wasn't paid upfront by Live Nation so that he could lower the price of his tickets, his beer, his food, his merchandise, and it worked. He got more people there than ever. He made more money with Live Nation than ever. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about it, here's the Reddit post where a Live Nation executive explains the situation. We know, and Live Nation knows, that all of those seats are going to be filled at that Taylor Swift concert. So what do? They release certain ones at amount of time. They don't release all of them at one point so that they can drive more people there, they can increase demand, and then they can add surge prices to it and get more money. It is so disingenuous. I have always seen music as a way to connect, as a way to be a part of a community, as a way to express myself, and seemingly how other people express themselves with me, how I color my life, but these people see us no more than dollar signs. And since I have no authority in this situation, besides spending my own money at these things, I hope our legislators will do the right thing here and protect us. But I mean, come on, this is the U.S. government we're talking about. There are zero guarantees that they're going to do the right thing here. They're going to do exactly what incentivizes them. I mean, come on, we all know what I'm talking about. Seriously consider your options in this situation when you are going to get a ticket for somebody you want to see, or you're going to buy merchandise at these stalls, or you're going to buy food. Seriously consider if you want to keep giving these people your money. if you have made it to the end of this video, this rant, I don't even know what this is anymore. I truly appreciate your time. You have no idea how much it means to me that you watched this whole thing through. This was so much fun for me to research. It was pretty depressing at some points, but I overall enjoyed it. I enjoyed putting together this video. I hope I can make more stuff like this for you guys in the future. I'm going to put all of the sources that I used for this, as many as I can think of, everything in my bookmarked at the very least, down in the description below. I'm going to link all of my socials, my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitch, my Patreon. All that's going to be down there. So if you guys want to keep following me and see more content like this, I'm going to be doing my best. If you liked it, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Leave anything you want to say about this down in the description. If there's anything I missed, if there's some really glaring, really cool lawsuits, please leave it for me. I'm going to probably update this situation because it looks like we're going to get some updates very quickly on this situation. So I am going to keep my nose to the grindstone, y'all. Thank you guys for showing up, showing out. That's all I got for you. Get out of here, kid.